Hi folks, welcome back to Code and Concrete, where we share the latest trends in the stories of trailblazers in the built environment. I'm very excited to bring to you today ALShimaa Allam, who is a structural engineer, a professional engineer, holds an MBA, and is a project management program certified expert. She's got 24 years in engineering design, structural analysis, and construction management. She serves as strategic and portfolio manager and technical integration manager at AAA-Integration, driving technical excellence and organizational growth. Her strong qualifications in strategic management within the AEC industry bridge technical depth with business acumen. Committed to lifelong learning, she actively pursues professional development and stays ahead of global engineering market trends. Well, I'm very glad to have you on the show and talk about your background and some of those market trends and where you see all of this going.
I'm very glad and honored to be here also. Actually, there is a lot going on in AEC nowadays. Since I think 5 years now, we are facing a huge revolution with new technologies, adaptation of. I will not say new processes, but it's very, let's say, advanced methodologies that takes us to another engineering world, starting from sustainable and energy efficiency, utility, up to the adaptation of them with very, let's say, tight connection with the site industry. Maybe this is the first time that we are saying that the site and construction should be parallel to design and engineering. The terminology itself and the tendency, it's innovative. Usually in older ages, it's not that much old. I think 15 years ago, we are very commonly used that engineering starts first. And then after we finish engineering and full design detailed, we go to site and construction. Currently, this is not the case. We are going in parallel, and all the standardization are going with a new heading processes to go in the same methodology. Of course, BIM is the leader here. It is the innovation the most. I don't know, it is a motivation or leadership or something for this tendency. But actually, also technology have a very huge part in this tendency.
Well, I think we'll dive into each of those as the conversation goes along.
Yes.
First, I want to introduce the audience to you and learn about your background. So I have guests from all over the world, every single continent, and I believe that you are in Egypt. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's fascinating. How is the AEC scene in Egypt, and how do you think it compares to the rest of the world?
Actually, the AEC in Egypt is a very leader industry. Egyptian, one of their, I think, point of advantage is engineering, specifically engineering. I don't know why. Even on the individual perspective, they are very professional in engineering with all discipline, the same, but specifically in architecture and structure. I have taken time to go all around world and lead project all around world. Still, when I see an Egyptian engineering, I found them fond of the industry itself. Somehow special. You will not find this in many disciplines in Egypt, but engineering is a leading industry in Egypt.
Wow. Okay. Fascinating. Well, I guess in some ways it doesn't surprise me. We know that some of the greatest architectural and engineering wonders, the pyramids, which have stood the test of time, are right there in Egypt. And they were built without BIM, to say the least, and they're still standing and highly complex.
No, we say so. It is built with BIM. Actually, BIM, the definition, is totally different from what we are commonly known about it. The wide range of BIM is to coordinate. And I think they were very good coordinator there. They used all the utility all around them. So I think it is BIM, but a different concept and the processes in BIM.
I see. So I guess you could break down the nomenclature of BIM, and it's just about project management and the organization of information and actually executing the build plans, and now it's become more sophisticated. So that is a good correction, because I've had folks like Ralph Montag correct me on that before, where BIM has technically always existed, but now we tend to mean that it's like computer guided or computer assisted design process. So your background, I mean, you've got decades of experience in this industry. What was your story getting into engineering, and how have you seen the industry grow as you've grown through your career?
Okay, my father is an engineer, and my grandfather, great grandfather, is an engineer, and I am an engineer. My brother is an engineer. My mother is an engineer.
Wow.
Okay, the only one mechanical is my mother, and all of us are structural engineers. So it's naturally I am engineer. When I was younger, I thought that I had to go for either to be an engineer or a pilot,
Hmm.
and yes, drive an airplane. So it came good with engineering and expat all around the world. I have spent out of 24 years of my experience, I think 16 years outside Egypt, only 6 years inside Egypt.
Oh, really?
So I worked as an expat and all over the world.
What are some of those countries included?
I started with Dubai in Burj Khalifa, and then I moved to India. I traveled to Malaysia, Philippines, France, Zambia, and Kenya in Africa, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Jordan, Morocco, and Brazil. Yes.
Wow. So a lot of West Asia, it sounds like, and I've had the opportunity to go to the UAE and Saudi Arabia recently, and Qatar, and kind of explore all the cool things going on there. But I think it leads me into the first big question, which is that you've worked on projects all around the world, but there seems to be the same set of problems no matter where you're developing in the world, whether that's in design, coordination, accountability, and alignment of stakeholders. So, in your opinion, working on all these projects around the world, what seems to be the reoccurring problems, the issues that everyone seems to be having and that you are working to resolve?
The most common problem existing in the engineering project that most probably timeline existing in the engineering from the first place is not realistic. And it is not even optimized, neither realistic, neither optimized. So it is something put on the paper to achieve the targets of the stakeholders without reference to standards or what the job is needed to be done. Okay. They lack, I will not say quality, adapting quality. Okay. In the right procedure, in the right process. We usually somehow leave the quality aside. Okay. We will not throw them away, but leave the quality aside when it comes to time and how we are dealing with the targets of the stakeholders. This is usually not good. And this is where the problem starts. And then we go for corrective action to go to the real and optimized processes. And this is the main problem existing in all the projects, all over the world.
So the timelines are unrealistic, and this leads to projects. Is it that they are rushed and then that sacrifices quality? Or are there other problems that emerge when the timelines aren't realistic?
Okay, it's not rushed. It's according to targets of the stakeholders, and not all the stakeholders know exactly how the job to be done and the right time of it. I'm speaking about optimized timeline.
Okay.
Neither it is a small timeline or shorter timeline or long timeline. No, I'm speaking about optimized timeline, where every activity in the timeline takes what is needed to be done according to standards. There is an optimized time for each and every activity. So, and there is an experience, a huge experience for all the expertise all around the world. We should use it.
Okay. So it's folks who don't understand the needs of the project that are setting the expectations. Folks who maybe have other incentives or other things going on, and it's detached from the people on site.
Yes, somehow, and actually there is more here. There is many factors that may interfere in the preparation of the project beside the standards and the engineering recommendation. This is when and why we face a problem in the timeline in the beginning,
Hmm.
and that's why we have. I will not say here bad the all the project, all the environment takes apart. Okay, because the type of the problem that comes out of this is totally different according to the environment and the country.
Sure, sure. On that same topic about what's happening on site versus behind the scenes or the expectations being set, I want to introduce technology and digital tools because this plays into the gap between our expectations and reality. So where are you seeing some of the friction between the tools and technology that we are trying to implement and what's actually happening on site? Because I imagine if we look at the feasibility and design software that we have, we can develop a property and phase it and assume that it's going to be, a set number of weeks or months. But then when we're actually on the job site, things become different, right? It's hard to recreate that perfectly. So where are you seeing some of that friction emerge from our technology and expectations, and then what's actually built?
Oh, look, the major item here that technology will guarantee that this will never happen again. At least will never happen again, and we will have some small corrective action, of course, like any other environment or any other planned project. It never goes step by step. Literally, there is some
Mm,
gaps will arise. But technology will guarantee that you will have the optimized time and optimized standard procedures apply. Okay. And then you transfer it to engineering and vice versa. It goes all around. This is why you are granted to have the most optimized time according to standards. It is programmatic. Okay. It is scalable, and it is totally to the way. This is where I will not say the hit, but where the development comes from. Okay, because people were trying to do this, but technology is forcing you to go to do this.
Do you think other technologies like IoT could assist in this?
It is mandatory. It is amazing, in my opinion. IoT of things, digital twin, is amazing. Amazing factor that will guarantee that you will never put unoptimized things on the paper. You will
Hmm.
always put realistic and optimized thing in the paper. Besides, from my type or my branch, the profession in engineering, it is amazing that I have to see the real case study. Specifically, when I am making a rehabilitation or structure analysis for existing structure, this is magnificent, magnificent tool to monitor, to give realistic data, to give synchronized data at the same time, and to see where I am going while I am analyzing. This is amazing, amazing.
What percentage of projects that you have engaged with are using IoT and digital twins?
Until now, it's not that big,
Hmm.
specifically when it comes to budget. It needs a huge project to do this. I think it's now in Middle East, all over Middle East as a whole area. I think it's between 15 to 20, 100%
Oh,
of the
wow.
project. Ah, yes,
Oh,
it's not that big. Okay. But still, the mega project is trying to force this type of technology. Part of it, let's say it's 15 to 20 when it comes to the whole process, but you may extend it up to 35 when it is partial. We will put here in this area and we will try. We will go here and we will try, and so on.
how much do you think that affordability would increase adoption? For example, if the implementation of IoT and the software associated with it, and even the cost of labor, if all of these things were more affordable, do you think that real estate developers would be quick to adopt IoT and digital twins more?
Money and scalable labor. Those are the main huge two factors that will affect the adaptation of IoT and AI and all the technological revolution existing there. The budget of the project, and if you have scalable labor on the ground. Both of them will give you a hit to adapt it as soon as you can, because it will save you time, money, and it will bring a huge ROI.
Well, let's talk about the labor piece real quickly, because you are obviously an expert in this. And so you get to work on projects and apply your expertise. But not too many folks from my conversations and investigation are well-versed in IoT and digital twins. So do you think that there's a shortage of skilled labor in this area?
Sure, skilled labor is in a shortage in many places, even على فكرة يعني good society, I think developed societies, not only in the poor societies. No, it is existing also in the developed society. When you have a money but you don't have a scalable labor. Scalable labor means that I have planned okay, the use of the technology and put it on paper according to the need of the project. And then I need to make trainings, sequential training to the point, to the target for my laborers. This is not existing too much. Between planning and training sessions, no, this is not a lot.
How can we fix that?
I think, first of all, by learning the technical team and management level, how to use this, the ROI of this, and how to plan. I don't have to use the whole technology in all projects. I can use part of it. I can employ some of it. I can employ wherever I need. By doing this, you will optimize the budget, and you will have a very programs or training sessions come all around to target those type of tools.
Okay, cool. Well, taking a step back from engineering and looking at project management, we know that these environments that we're talking about, either virtual or on-site, are becoming more data-driven. And this forces a change in mentality and execution or practice for these project managers. How should they start to rethink their approach and risk in particular, something I'm interested in, when it comes to developing these projects, right, in a more data-driven way?
I think we need, I will not say destroy, but I will say we need to reframe the managerial mentality here. This is at the beginning. This have to change. There is no authority level here. It is all in the same level. We are here dynamic, and we have transparency, and we have a delegation of tasks. This mentality have to be spread all around, because this is a major problem existing. It just not arising because it's not on the strategic level of execution. It doesn't cost that much. But when you come to implementing the technology itself on the ground level, this is a major problem. The managerial mentality, the solid one, the old one, have to be changed, reframed totally, to have a dynamic, technical, skilled engineers and team that have to be relocated, and it has to be totally transparent and cooperative when it comes to work. There is no local look. You have all of them from the smallest age have to look in a broader way. They have to analyze the problem with all aspects. They have to communicate very well. And transparency here is very important. It's not negotiable. You have to transfer information. This is mandatory to adopt the technology.
So more transparency more transfer of information and data. And it sounds like removing some of the hierarchy that exists on projects and make this more of a almost democratic and cooperative environment. Is that right?
Yes, yes, and very horizontal environment. There is no need for vertical. It just takes time and effort and creating conflicts with no need. And this is a huge risk, by the way. The lack of transparency from one side and the vertical level in a long way where there is no need for it. Decision making have to be done and done now on
How
a
do you think
technical basis.
on a technical basis? Okay. How do you think different technologies like software, actually software in particular, and maybe AI, automation, how do you think that that is going to make the job site more horizontal?
Because it gives you the vision right now. What does it mean? Means that I have the right option or the multiple right option existing in front of me from the time that the problem is created. And then I will have to choose the most optimum one and the most suitable one according to my analysis, vice versa. Okay. So already you have the chain of information translated into a potential solution in front of you from the time the problem is existing. No need to go for the same circle again to define the problem, analyze it. No, you are totally on the way from the beginning. At some certain point of the way, not at the beginning of it, you are ahead some steps away, specifically if you have a very good data transferred into information, analyzed very well, and targeted to the project you are needing. And this is will take us to the same point we previously spoken about planning. Planning to use the right tool at the right project at the right time.
Could we give a practical example of
Yes,
this?
of course, sensors and bridges. The bridges have many type of problem that may arise. I think the major one is not the common one is in the surface of the bridge, maybe in the slab, maybe in the beams existing. This is we call it superstructure and not the verticals. But the major and most sophisticated problem will come in the column. This is also common, but not in a huge level or a huge percentage. The most critical one comes under the ground when there is a problem in the soil or the foundation. What is the most expensive sensors we can use or tools we can use to define the problem underground? Okay, so if I am planning that I will have an investigation for a bridge that is suffering from a problem or make some rehabilitation or a change in the bridge structure, I have to define where I am. Am I above the ground or underground? And this is can be easily done from the first investigation. Okay, if you put the sensors and see where the cracks or the symptoms of the structure deficiency is coming from, okay, and you started monitoring for some small time, you can identify very well you are having soup up above the ground, under the ground, or both. Okay, this is where you put your tools. Okay, or you plan to put your tools. I took the decision here that I will not go under the ground, I will go only above the ground. On the verticals, maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, on the superstructure only, maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, so defining the problem and planning to use your tools according to the needs of the project is the most important step that will optimize the use of the technology tool itself. And of course, the budget and on the running way of achieving the targets of the project.
Right, right. Well, on the topic of tools and looking at other things that could be automated or streamlined, what do you think that AEC firms should be considering right now? Is there anything in particular?
Yes, I think adapting technology needs a different type of skills, needs a different type of education. So you have to be practical, okay, and you have to be always on the learning route. Nobody knows where we will go from now. Okay, maybe we have a different technology. If you are seeing the way from where I am seeing it, then started I think 2025 between 20 to 25 years ago. Okay, it's now only now we are adapting them while we are having a different type of technology. Okay, the standards is just came, I think, 3 or 4 years ago of them. But now we have a different type of technology and a different major change while we are speaking about a digital twin between the construction and engineering. So we may not enjoy the best practice of them. Aslan. We will give it away and change to different type, more advanced type of
Mm.
technology. That's why we have to keep learning. We'll never stop here. The train have moved and nobody can stop it.
Yeah, I agree. The momentum is there and it's becoming an unstoppable force
Yes.
for good too. It reminds me of something else. I mean, so you're a professional technical integration manager, and like you alluded to in your answer, you work with systems, people, and strategy, and finding where all of these collaborate. And you were right that firms have to be thinking about this differently. So I guess to give people something practical, again, I really like the real world examples. Could you give an example of a time when failing to integrate technology might have stopped or broke a project?
Yes, it could stop the project for, I think, 2 years or 4 years, and there is a political change have been made that stopped the project for good. I will tell you without determining the place. Okay, there have been a project of an airport. They planned to adapt them from the first place, and they started to put their tools. They bought the tools, so there is no lack of money here.
Mhm.
Okay, where the tools were very rare by then. I think this was 15 years ago, and they started BIM technology and moving around, but they lack the education. Technical team there, they lack the education. So the stubborn traditional conventional mentality of management here stopped the project. There is no ruling wheel coming around in the beginning. Only some sort of, let's say, limited people know the technology and they are moving, but they are moving slowly, not the whole team. So they rushed to the result and they stopped the project. I think years later, the project was stopped due political issues in the country itself. So this is a huge example I have faced by myself, by the way.
I'm
And
sure.
I was in the BIM team. Allah. It was very, 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 very shocking
Yeah.
event by me.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's a lot of examples like that where
Yes.
things fall apart, and it's just not great for the industry. But we can turn that around, and I think it's conversations like this that help that out, and just encouraging AEC firms to restructure either in their approach or their integrations or the technology that they're using, and really step into the 21st century. But I want to ask a more visionary question. So looking at the next 50 years or 100 years, where do you see this technology going? In particular, IoT, AI, digital twins. What does the future look like?
I think those will be the older ones, and we will see something different. When I read about things, but not engineering things, in the technology phase things, and how they are fastly moving to improve their tools, I am amazed. Robots are not far away from us. Okay, digital tools when it comes to behavior and thinking and machine learning, they are also going on a rapid train. Okay, and so I think the right answer is I don't know, but I am expecting that what we are here thinking that it is the future, it will not be the future, it will be the past. Okay, that's why, yes, this is advice. You have to stay on the road of learning until the end.
Yeah, I know that earlier you said it's really hard to say what the future is going to look like, and the technologies are always changing. What we knew 15 years ago doesn't look like what we have now, and our predictions are going to be probably incorrect again. but maybe on a shorter time frame where we can still make a prediction. Where do you see these technologies going? What things do you think would be automated or will transform the industry and start to make it unrecognizable? I mean, robots, you said we're pretty close to robots. So that's exciting. I can imagine that's going to change construction sites.
Yes, what I see now, a totally synchronized environment between the engineering and construction, okay, with a real transfer of what is happening in the site to us live. Okay, I see fast-moving engineering team that is trying to solve all the problem or make all the needed production for the time being. I see a very horizontal decision maker existing on all the technical team working together. This is what I see, and this is within less than 5 years, in my opinion. This will happen for the whole project, specifically in mega project.
So where do you go to learn about everything that's happening, and what could other people use so that they are staying ahead of the trends?
You have to read, you have to learn, you have to educate yourself, you have to go on a CPD term line, like for the whole of your life. You have to be dynamic, and you have to be flexible in changing your definition for how you are promoted in your profession. Promotion now, in my opinion, it goes directly to the technique and the productivity. It will not go to where you are staying in your tower and you are waving to people from up. No, it will go for implementation and decision making on technical and real world ground.
Is there a particular publication that you like? Like how is it schooling? What's the answer to make sure that people are always learning?
Technical societies like BSI, technical societies like AIC. All those societies are very, very practical, and they are attached to the latest technology. And also they lead the standardization, and they have a very, very effective recommendation when it comes to standard. But they go on both sides, practical field and the standardization. This is the most, let's say, realistic area you can start your road from when it comes to technique. Excluding from this area the architectural and creativity. This you have to look by yourself and make your own wallet, because it's not standardized somehow. It is totally going according to your talent.
Okay, gotcha. Well, awesome. I want to give you a call to action. Is there, if I've got folks that tune in from all around the world. Is there anyone in particular that you would like to collaborate with, or is there a service that you sell, a product you have? It's open-ended. So like, what would you like your call to action to be?
The call to action is take the risk and do not be afraid from changing or the change itself. Okay. You have to cope up with, and actually you have to make effort. Your effort to develop yourself will never stop at any time of your life. This is a mandatory call of action. Earlier, when people come to my age in the profession, they started to look when I will be resting and taking decision and rest myself. This will never happen here, now, and in the near future and in the far future. Okay, you will be always on the road of adapting yourself with the new technology and new implementation, and consequently how the decision is made. So how you will be, or you will face at some certain point a problem with your junior who under the implementer team, the executive team, because they will be much more advanced than you in your profession.
Perfect. It's fantastic advice. Well, ALShimaa, this has been a really nice conversation. It's been insightful into where some of these projects are getting hung up, how they can start to resolve that, the different technologies that they could look at, but also process. I think we would agree that process precedes technology, and having the mindsets, having the approach is really important. And then you can successfully integrate technology, just like that project where they had the tech, but they didn't have a long-term plan in place to continue to utilize it over time and have people equipped to do that. So it's a really good example of how, I mean, technology is just a tool. It can't always be the solution. It's not a silver bullet. It doesn't solve all of our problems. Really, really awesome. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have your LinkedIn in the show notes. I really encourage people to connect with you. I also know that you're active in the BIM Heroes community. You post a lot, you engage a lot. And so if people are in the AEC industry or vertical, I definitely encourage people to get involved there, but they would find some of your work, your posts, your comments, and be able to connect with you on there. So maybe I'll include a link to that in the show notes as well. I guess that's a free shout out for Ralph. Again, he's doing great work. You both are. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, and for everyone who has listened as well. And I hope that you guys can give this a 5-star. This has been a 5-star episode. I really like the conversation, and I mean, it helps our speakers, helps the show, helps us grow. So thank you very much. And ALShimaa, I'm wishing you a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Matthew.